I gave the first one to a bunch of my buddies who were working on artificial intelligence for a startup called OpenAI in San Francisco, a startup that no one knew anything about. When OpenAI introduced ChatGPT in 2022, 10 years after AlexNet and after a million-fold gain in processing power, you can only picture what it would be like to have a laptop that is a million times more powerful. This marked the beginning of the mainstreaming of AI. This decade saw Nvidia change from a graphics firm that most of you likely first recognized as a manufacturer of GPUs to an AI company that today manufactures enormous supercomputers the size of data centers. We drastically changed our business. We also revolutionized computers. Today, computing is done in a fundamentally different way. Instead of CPUs executing programmers' commands, the computing stack now uses GPUs to process huge language models trained on supercomputers. These days, we are developing software that is impossible for humans to write. We are presently developing software that does tasks that were unthinkable for humans merely 10 years ago. Instead of being instruction-driven, computers are now intention-driven. If you tell a computer what you want, it will figure out how to get it. Ad applications will comprehend the goal, rationalize, organize, and coordinate a group of huge language models to do tasks, just like people do. Future apps will function very similarly to our methods, including putting together expert teams, employing tools, planning, reasoning, and carrying out missions. The capabilities of software have fundamentally changed. Even our industry, which is undergoing a upheaval and transformation, has given rise to a new industry that has never existed before. We are witnessing the formation of an industry. Tokens are AI input and output. You understand what I mean, all of you engineers in the room. They are intelligent floating point numbers. Businesses are currently constructing a brand new kind of data center that was previously non-existent, one that is dedicated to creating intelligence tokens. AI factories, basically. We now have AI token generators, which will be the factories of a new industrial revolution, similar to the AC generators that Nikola Tesla created during the previous one. There are huge companies that generate electricity and energy, but there is also a sizable industry that produces software, which is invisible. There will be industries that produce and manufacture intelligence tokens in the very near future. Because we reasoned from the ground up, developed our assumptions about the future, and took action on them, a new industry and a new computing model. AI generators have evolved. Robotics is the next wave of artificial intelligence, where AI has a physical world model in addition to a language model. We collaborate with hundreds of businesses who are developing humanoid robots, robotic vehicles, pick-and-place arms, and even whole massive warehouses that are powered by robotics. Okay, pay attention. I'm making time on my calendar for individual phone conversations to talk about your financial future and even trips to the CNBC studios. There are just a few seats left, so click the link below to book yours before they disappear. However, our robotics journey was the consequence of a string of failures, in contrast to our AI factory plan and our experience there, which were truly shaped by reasoning and purposeful action. The GPU was created by Nvidia, as you are aware. This was prior to the development of AI factories. Using programmable shaders to redefine computer graphics was our first significant contribution to the computer industry. In 2000, we created programmable shading and the GPU. In order to include GPUs into every computer, we began integrating our GPUs with motherboard chips and introduced an amazing integrated graphics chip for AMD CPUs at the time. Our chipset business took off right away. Almost quickly, I believe, it went from $0 to $1 billion. However, AMD suddenly wanted to take over all of the PC's technology, and we wanted to maintain our independence. They no longer required our services after they acquired ATI. We approached Intel and negotiated a license to connect to Intel CPUs, even though it was probably not a good idea to do so. Excited by what we were creating, Apple asked us to collaborate with them on a new machine, which eventually became the original MacBook Air. Intel ended our arrangement after realizing what had happened and deciding they no longer wanted us to accomplish it. We changed course once more, this time obtaining an ARM license and developing a low-power SoC, a mobile SoC, and the first SOC in history that was practically a complete operating system. It was amazing. Google noticed how excited we were. They requested that we develop a new gadget, which ended up becoming an Android smartphone. Qualcomm decided they didn't want us to connect to their modems because they didn't want us to do that. There were no other LTE modem firms. Therefore, it is difficult to develop a mobile device without a modem. Thus, we were forced to leave the market for mobile devices. This essentially occurred on an annual basis. 1 year later, we would be expelled from those markets after building something that was tremendously successful and created a great deal of enthusiasm. Since we had run out of markets, we made the decision to construct something where we were certain there would be no buyers. Because one thing you can be sure of is that if you don't have any clients, you won't have any competition, and no one will be interested in you. Therefore, we decided on a $0 billion market, robotics, that had no consumers. We created the first robotics computer in history, using deep learning, an approach that no one understood at the time. It was more than 10 years ago. 10 years later, I'm ecstatic about what we've accomplished and the chance to develop the next generation of artificial intelligence. More significantly, we fostered a resilient culture and increased agility. We bounced back from each setback and moved on to the next one. Every time, we improved our abilities and fortified our moral fiber. We fortified our corporate moral fiber. Distracting and discouraging our company is really difficult. These days, every obstacle we encounter seems like an opportunity. Ironically, our adventure began because the robot's computer we designed today doesn't even require graphics. Our current location teaches and tells us something. According to Richard Feynman, the world is unpredictable, and it might be unjust and deal you a lot of bad cards quickly. Get rid of it. Okay, pay attention. I'm making time on my calendar for individual phone conversations to talk about your financial future and even trips to the CNBC studios. There are just a few seats left, so click the link below to book yours before they disappear. The original length and meaning of the script have been maintained by correcting all grammatical faults. This is the script's continuation, keeping the original style while correcting any grammatical errors. Not only is Nvidia at a turning point right now, but the whole tech sector is as well. Resilience, reinvention, and an unrelenting quest for innovation have taught us that those who take risks, think outside the box, and embrace the unknown will be rewarded in the future. In the future, robotics and artificial intelligence will not only reshape existing sectors, but also create new ones. Our current robotics systems will serve as the foundation for autonomous systems, supply networks, and factories in the future. In addition to carrying out duties, these systems will learn, adjust, and optimize in real time, increasing productivity and opening up new avenues. This new generation of AI is about machines that do things, not just think. From self-organizing and self-managing warehouses to autonomous delivery trucks and surgical helpers, robots will collaborate with people in ways we haven't yet anticipated. This change is sociological in nature rather than merely technology. It's about changing the way we live.